Okay, so now it's recording. So let's do the design, right? This is gonna be the recording for the design. So I'm gonna scroll down, I'm gonna zoom in, and then I'm gonna click, just make sure you click enable editing because you want to be able to edit the document. So select that, then now you can edit the document. So input description, right? It means let me see, input description. Let me see, do you have variables? Yeah, pseudocode, UML. Okay, you see the UML part, right? You leave it empty because you guys have that's second semester. UML is second semester. I did this module and I finished it. So trust me, UML is second semester. So I think input and output, it's like, what are you getting from the user and what are you outputting? So it's simple. You just look at your practical document. So what am I inputting? Or what am I getting from the user? What is inputting? What do I expect the user to input or to enter? So you see, the user is supposed to be presented with the menu to select two options, right? So that is the first option because they need to choose an option. So the first input description, right, is gonna be user chooses one of two options. And then the mechanism, it means how are you getting the input or where are you getting the input from? To get input, right, we use what we call the standard input stream. And then the next thing is what is the accuracy score. So accuracy score and number of VPL exercises. So accuracy score, and we're using the exact same thing because they all entered via standard input stream, all of them. And then here's the number of VPL exercises, right? That's what you enter, and it's entered via what we call standard input stream. And then output description. This one, it's the opposite. You see, we have standard input stream. Here we'll have standard output stream. So that's the only difference. So it's not really that much of a difference. So copy. So let's see what it's going to output. It's going to output appropriate message based on model's accuracy. That's what it outputs. So you can just copy the statement, output an appropriate. You see the statement here. This is what I'm going to use because it outputs an appropriate message based on the accuracy score. So I'm going to paste that and then capital letter because that's how English is. You capitalize the first letter of the sentence. Those are the rules of English if you still remember English. So it outputs an appropriate message based on the model's accuracy. And then it also outputs, what should output? This is the tricky part, right? But I'll just write it as it is. So you see, starting from output, I'm just going to copy and paste all of that thing from here to there. So it outputs this or that, so right? So I'm going to start here from output to here. Copy all of that, put it there, paste. Then capital letter O. So it's going to output the more VP exercises you successfully complete, the higher your chances of obtaining a perfect practical mark. Else it outputs this. So I'm describing what my program will output. And that's true. It does output exactly that thing. And then I'm done with input and output. You see that they know what they're doing. You see that it matches, it's exactly the same number. I don't have to add more rows or more columns. So you see, they know why this document is like this. They know. So you need to follow that. And then identifier, right? It's a variable. And then data type is what is its data type? What type of information or what type of data does it store? That's what it means. So I'm going to go back to my code. That's why I said I shouldn't have closed my code. So this part, right, is going to be unique to everyone. You see this part for data format is going to be unique to everyone. Input and output, it's also unique, but it's going to talk about the similar things, right? So the data format, let's look at your own code, right? Not other people's code, your own code. Then you look at all the variables. I have one variable called option. I'm going to copy its exact name. It's called option. What is this data type? It's a char. Description, what does it store? One of the options entered by the user. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say it stores one of the options entered by the user. So you describe, you explain what it stores. That's what the description part is. Identifier part means it's the name of the identifier or a variable. That's another word for it. So let me go to option A. I have variable score. So here is score. It's of type int. And then it stores the accuracy. Accuracy what? Accuracy ton. What is the thing called again? Accuracy something. Accuracy score. So accuracy score, right? Stores the accuracy score. And it's your code. You see that you look at your own code. So the way you've named your variables. Mine of code is score. Maybe someone else coded it, just named it S. So you just have to write S in your Word document, right? In the template. Then I'm gonna come here and say number of exercises. That's how I named it in my code. It's of type int. And then it's its description. It stores the number of VPL exercises. I don't know. Don't over explain, right? Try to make sure you don't over explain. Don't say it stores the number of VPL exercises that the user enters, blah, blah, and no, but just explain what it stores. That's it. Don't go into too much details. And then the pseudocode part, right? It's your code. Explain your code. Write your code. Yeah, this is really gonna take waste time, but it's fine. Thing is, I'm supposed to have a session with the other students, ComSci 3A, but it's fine. I think, let me see. I think I can postpone. I'll see. I'll talk to them because I'm feeling a bit tired now. My throat is painful from all the speaking. So your pseudocode, right, is basically you explain your code in you shouldn't write literal strings, right? What is this? What is not strings? What am I saying? You shouldn't write the literal C++ code, or you shouldn't also write it in full English. So you need to sort of like find a way to translate it to in between C++ and English, in between. So this is how I would approach it. So I'm gonna copy all of this code, right? Exclude the return, right? Don't put the return. The return shouldn't be there. So copy, and then I'm gonna paste my code here. Yeah, don't copy and paste. Yeah, just avoid it. Just write the statement one by one. So see out, it means I need to output something, right? So I'm just gonna say output. So let me fix my document. I don't want it to be bold, so I'm gonna remove that. Then I'm gonna say you should output what? The string. So what is that string? This string here. And then it should output, or you can say display, right? You can say display and say display. Basically, pseudocode is like it's in between English and C++. People, when people read your pseudocode, they shouldn't be able to know which programming language you use. And then display option A, and then display. And then I'm gonna say option B. To be honest, this is actually me doing the memo for you guys for the practical. But then I'm doing less as practical. It's just that usually they didn't change the practicals that much. They just changed the problem. So it's still exactly the same thing. So your design should be similar to this design. So display, because why am I saying display? Because see out displays this thing, this information here. So I'm writing in my pseudocode that that line you should output this string. You see how it's not, it doesn't specify it doesn't show which programming language you used, right? I just say display. So I know a couple of languages, right? In Kotlin, you just use print. In C++, you use cout. In Java, you use system.in.println. In is it Go? You use fmt.println, something like this. And then JavaScript, you'd use console.log, and then you pass the string there. So you see that I don't specify the specific language. So you can that's the thing about pseudocode. It should be something that can be translated to any programming language. So you see that there's multiple ways for me to interpret that depending on which language I'm using. And then here it's going to declare that variable option. So you see code, you see programming, right? It's the thing is I'm also avoiding to use char because in some programming languages it's not called a char in small letters, it's called a char in capital letters. So I'm trying to avoid giving out that hint that it's a what is this? But it's fine. You can. So here I think you can, right? You can write it as the char. That's fine. So let me see. You see the pseudocode, right? It's up to you how you really want to structure it. But I'm going to say, let me see. Char option. In pseudocode, right? Every equal sign, you replace that equal sign with an arrow like this. You don't put the equal sign inside your pseudocode because that's going to give it away that, oh, this might be Java or C++. You see, the moment people start guessing, that's when you know that you've done the wrong thing. And then I'm going to store the null pointer in there like this. And don't also put semicolons. Don't leave them entirely. You don't want them to figure out what it is, right? Which programming language you used. So what I'll also do, right, is I'll omit this type, right? I'll just leave it as option. Basically, this just means initialize option with null. So I don't specify the language, right? I don't put double char and those things. I'm trying to avoid. That's what pseudocode is for. It's you explaining your code line by line, but you don't expose which programming language you used. So they shouldn't know people that, oh, you use C++. And then I'm going to say here, get input and store. No, get what? I'm going to say get option and store in variable option. So what does this mean? It means get the option from the user, which is that option A or B, and then store it in variable option. So that's what it means. So I'm going to leave it like that. So this is how I'm going to phrase my inputs because I don't want to expose that I'm using C++. That's the main goal. And then here I'm going to say switch. So for switch, right, I'm going to use it this way. I'm going to say switch, right? And then I'm going to say option here, right? And then I'm just going to put a semicolon like this. And then what you can do, if you wanted to, that's up to you. You can just put an end switch here to mean that that's the end of the switch statement. You can do that. And then I'm going to press, uh, I'm going to enter here and say case, right? Case A, what is this? Case A, right? So it's this part here, case A or case A, right? So I want to say case A. I know it's kind of similar to C++, but the main goal is that it doesn't expose that this is C++. So I'm still on the right track. Why doesn't it allow me to press tab? And then here I'm going to solve, right? So I need to declare score and initialize it to 0. That one we know, you just write the variable's name, an arrow, and its value. And then done. And then after that, we need to output this. So remember how I did it. This is my approach, right? You can write it in the pseudocode in your own way. Me, this is how I'm choosing to write it. So I'm just gonna say that this means display that. And then after displaying that, it's fine. Let me just do this. No, it's not fine. It's supposed to have spaces a bit there. Excuse me. So display enter accuracy score. And then here we need to get score. So the next line is get score from user. Yeah, let's just phrase it in simple words. Let's just say get score from user, right? Like that, simple. I think I should have phrased it in this way and say get option from user. Just leave it like that. Don't to write C++ code. They see C++ code, it's a problem. They start deducting marks because I shouldn't be able to understand which language you used. To be honest, this I can actually phrase it as start switch, something like that, and then end switch to just kind of confuse and not for you to not know which programming language I used. I can also do that. That's fine. So I'll just put a start switch there and which takes in this option and then it checks. I don't expose the programming language. That's the nice part. And then I need to do all of these checks, right? So how am I going to do the checks? It's simple. I'm going to actually write it in, let me see. Yeah, to be honest, there's many ways you can write the pseudocode. I'm thinking of my approach, how I'm going to approach it. Um, so I'm gonna do an if score is in range. Yeah, so we are checking the range here. So I can just say if score is in range, then I specify the range from 0 to um or from range. I need to specify it in this way. After writing range, the range word, right? I'm gonna put a space and then I specify whether it's inclusive or exclusive, the way it's written in the PDF. So 0 to 50, like this. Actually, I don't know why it doesn't allow me to press tab. So if score is in this range, then what should happen? It should output. As you can see that I'm actually translating the exact code that I wrote. This is the exact thing that I wrote in my code, right? And then else if score is in range, remember it's exclusive. It excludes 50, but then it includes, if I'm not mistaken, 70, right? It includes 70, yeah. And then colon. So the colon just denotes that everything that I'm about to write now, it's part of that if statement. And then I'm gonna copy all of this. Yeah, pseudocode would have been hard if someone didn't show you because it's very hard. It's a tricky thing. If score is in range, and then the range now should be excluding 70, but from 70 to 90, but it includes 90. And then it should output. No, I'm mixing up the things. Don't be consistent, guys. I'm saying output, but I was using display all this time. Maybe in your pseudocode you're gonna say output. In mine, I'm saying display. Remember, there's no only right answer for pseudocode. You must just write it in such a way that you cannot understand, you cannot guess which programming language you used. That's the main goal of this thing. And then else, if score is in range from 90 to 100, right? But excluding 90, so 90 to 100, but including 100. And then should display this message. Excellent, well done. Excellent, well done. Then I am done with that case, right? Then I'm gonna have the other cases. Doesn't matter in what order you write it. Case B, case small letter B. Yeah, this one is easier to write at least. But then there's that long string that I don't like, but let's see. So I have number of exercises. I'm gonna copy it. One thing you should note, right, when you're writing a pseudocode, remember you list the variable names here. Those variable names should appear in the pseudocode, or else there's some inconsistency there and you start losing marks. So I'm gonna scroll down and go back there and use that variable. I'm gonna put an arrow and say 0. Remember, this arrow just shows the direction. The value 0 is moving and being stored inside number of exercises. That's what that means. That's why I use the arrow, because it's literally how it works in programming. And then the next line, I should say output this. So output this, or display, not output, display this. And then the next line is get the number of, get the number of exercises from standard input stream. Let's phrase it properly. Remember what I told you about cin refers to the standard input stream. So I'm going to say get from standard input stream, from the standard input stream, and then get option from standard input stream. So we're getting the options from the standard input stream. So I'm going to get to the number of exercises from the standard input stream. You see the standard input stream, right? It's common in all languages, but what's different is the syntax. So in Python, you might write it in a different way. In C++, you might write it in a different way. So that's why I wrote it in that way, so that whatever programming language you use, you're going to translate it to your language that you're using. And then here I'm going to have the message variable. Oh, I forgot to put the message variable there. I didn't list all of my identifiers. There's also message, which is of type string, which stores what? A message. How will I phrase this one? I don't want to write a too long description. It stores a message based on the comparison of num less than 5. So basically, it stores a message or a response based on the comparison when I compare number of choices by 5. When I check if number of exercises is less than 5. So this variable stored the message or the response for that. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't want to over explain. So this next line, after getting the input, we store the message. So in your pseudocode, right? Don't put types, don't put data types like in your pseudocode. Only leave the data types there at the top. That's why we specified the types here. So the user, the person who's reading a document, they will know because they see the types here. Then I'm gonna scroll down here, and then I'm gonna go back here, and I'm just start using the variable. That's it. Don't declare it, don't put data type, don't do that. So the message would be that long text. Yeah. How would I represent a ternary operator? Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can represent it. So I'm just gonna write this. I'm gonna keep it in short, right? I'm not gonna write the full string. That's too long. So this So basically, I'm gonna write it like this way. You can also do it the same way. I'm gonna say it stores the more exercises, blah blah blah. Full three dots just mean it continues. Or where's that? Or keep it up, right? The other message, the other response is keep it up. Keep it up. So it stores, so it's going to store this or this, right? So, or I can just do it this way. Let me think. So I can just do this. I can say if number of exercises, right? I know this looks weird, but if number of exercises is less than 5, then store. So it's going to store that string. And then I'm going to put an else here. So I know it kind of looks weird, but come on. That's why I don't like Microsoft Word. I don't like it. It is, yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm telling the user that, or the person who's looking at my document that if the number of exercises is less than 5, then store that string. Else store the string. You see that I didn't specify the conditional operator. I didn't put any question mark here or colon. I didn't. I just made it as a question like if, right? Because that's how actually a conditional operator works. It actually means if. So I'm going to say output. No, not output. Why I keep saying output? Display message. And then done. That's my pseudocode because this part here displays the message. As you can see out message. So that's it. That's all you have to do for the design. And then the UML diagram, that's second semester. You just leave it empty. Just don't put anything there. So that's my pseudocode. You must compare, you must look at the pseudocode and also look at my code. You see that I'm actually taking line by line and translating it in my own way. What's important is that you specify the data, the variables at the top and the data types. So that when they start reading your pseudocode, they know, oh, this is a chart, or it's a chart type. So that's why you're saying case here, because we know that this is of chart type. And then you're comparing in this range because we know that score at the top, you said it's an integer. There it is here. I said score is an integer. So that's pretty much all you have to do. So let me save the design. Yeah, it's going to be long, so I need to browse the place and save it as a PDF. So I'm going to choose .pdf, then go to documents where I've saved my projects. So project, there's the practical. I need to put it inside docs folder. So docs folder, and then I'm going to name it this way. I'm going to say this is practical 02 2024 design, right? I think your design should be in PDF format, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it has to be in PDF. So there's my PDF. There's the pseudocode. The UML diagram, remember, it's empty because you start doing things UML in second semester. This semester, it's all about variables, functions, making games, and things like that. So, okay, let me cancel this. So let me just stop the recording, then I'll take questions now. Yeah, do you